But how do you explain the disconnection of my experience of like being ignored and being humbled and feeling ugly about myself every single day?
I'm glad though you felt less ugly and more desired when you were abroad.
Like I'm about to leave Japan. Japan humbles me every single day.
Humbling. That's what I said. It's humbling.
Hi, Tokyo Toughs.
We are here today because Meng has been traveling around a lot. He has some opinions and views to share.
About Japan, right?
About Japan.
Like I'm about to leave Japan.
Yeah,
I don't know how I feel after all the shenanigans and craziness of White Party. This is November right now, 2024. Yeah. Let me talk about my frustration with Japan right now. If you guys remember, we had a group of really hot guys asking the question, are we popular in Japan last year? And I was on the side being like, oh, Japan is fine. You guys being overly dramatic. I flipped.
So you talked a little bit about your trip in Taiwan the year before, Unpopular, the video, but we cut it.
Okay, shame on you because you added it.
Cut it. That was me, okay. So I cut it. Behind the scenes, you were really excited about your Taiwan trip. But because you only had your one Taiwan trip, you didn't feel that you could say, you couldn't have an opinion.
Okay, now I have an opinion. I went to Kuala Lumpur. Oh, also Korea. I went to Korea twice this year. Well, Korea is a little bit similar to Japan, I think, compared to other places. I was received so differently in other countries. I can't really talk about dating because I wasn't there for like a long time, just for vacation wise. Yeah. You know, sexually, where sexual invitation, where hookups, right? Like
just attention, even probably on apps, or not even, or in the clubs or something like that.
Right. My Grindr fucking exploded. Actually, in Japan, I never received any Grindr messages. Like if I don't tap or don't do any reaction, I just turn it on and walk around. Like nobody, it's like dead silence. I don't know if that's the situation, like because I know you're very proactively like tap, you know?
Tap.
But like,
what is that? Is that shade?
But I kind of want to ask, if you don't do anything, is there anyone gonna message you?
Visitors.
Okay, but not like the local people, right?
Yeah, local people don't really reach out to me.
So, but I would say it was so different in KL and also in Taipei. Also a little bit in Korea as well. Once I was opening up my grinders, they were like messages like, oh, so you're in this hotel, right? Like you're 5 minutes away from me. I need to f you right now.
Wow.
Yeah. I had 5 nights. So I have to be very selective. Yeah. And people being like, hurry up.
50 a day.
Like hurry up. Like why are you texting me back? Can I be in a hotel like in 5 minutes? I'm like just around the area. I was like, give me some time. I need like, you're like
in the douche.
No, not even that. It's like you're in my fucking list. Like I have to like 10 people to choose
this
right now.
This guy messaged me at 10 a.m. So I want to see what he has to say first. It's only fair.
Not 10 a.m. Like people all messaging me at the same time. Wow. All want to meet like in 5 minutes, in 20 minutes. Like can I go over?
Why didn't you get them all to come at the same time? Be like.
And I just realized the whole time, Japan tricked me into believing that I am ugly. Like nobody likes me, you know. Like
you remember you you rated yourself a 3 out of 10.
That's how I feel when I'm in Japan. In KL or in Taiwan, it's like people are being very proactive, like wanted to know me, even if it's not a sexual encounter or situation. I was at a gay bar. People really had a genuine conversation with me, like introduced themselves and wanted to know me. Even in Korea this time, I met a couple Korean guys. They were like, oh, I definitely want to meet you again once you're back in Japan. Like we travel to Japan like quite often. So I'm just so frustrated with Japan right now. It's clean, it's safe. Yes, it's the good place. That it all looks so beautifully arranged and everything is so peaceful. But it's really cold.
Japan can make you feel really ugly. When I'm chatting with this guy online who, we were chatting on Grindr, he was from Europe. I was talking about that to him and he was like, you do know that it's a Japan thing. Like it's not you being ugly. He was like, if you went to Europe, you would be so popular. And having him say that was really validating almost, because I was like, okay. And then it was just like, why am I not popular here?
I love all my Japanese friends. I'm not even blaming on the people. It's the energy.
Well, if anything,
it's in the atmosphere, you know.
if anything, blame it on the gays. Because remember, I think Chris was talking about how he felt straight people were totally different. We were talking about whether it was like a Japanese thing, and he was like, no, when I'm with straight people, because he's, you know, Chris goes out in clubs all the time, right?
Yeah.
The type of energy, people running into him, people speaking to him, reaching out with just, we're talking about the energy you're talking about, right? They had that energy and just approached him, no problem. It's once he gets, and that he was saying one of the things he doesn't even like about like getting into the gay community, besides the music, is that change in energy.
That's a good point, because this year I went to a couple like straight like festivals things, right? Like the water one. So we partied a little bit with the straight people and they were like really open about it. But yes, I do agree with you. Like I feel like the warmth is not really there in the gay scene here. I feel people just like to hang out with their own groups, where sometimes like even standoffish, where just don't take an interest in other people.
Foreigners in the same way
Yeah.
as perhaps the other Japanese,
Yes,
other straight
but
community.
at the same time, I would say like Tokyo, I don't know Japan in general, like Tokyo is quite cold. Like people usually don't care about other people, like they would just like walk
general.
by.
Yes.
Yeah.
If I wasn't gay, I think I'd be living in Osaka. Every time I meet someone actually in Tokyo and I really get along with them, a Japanese person, like 9 times out of 10, they're from Osaka or they're from Kansai. I love Tokyo, and I think Tokyo's best for gays. Because we do just have everything, not everything, but more here for gays. But if I was straight, I think I would probably just get along more with people in Western Japan.
Well, how about just outside Japan?
That's what we were talking about in the unpopular video, right? Is that it's like, if we're outside of Japan, it's night and day. I was excited to go on the cruise. That was one of the reasons I was excited. I was excited for a lot of things, but I was looking forward to not getting ignored.
So that was also your reality, right?
And that was my reality. Yeah. I got there.
So
and
you
people
do
were
agree
really
with me.
outgoing. Yeah.
Like Japan has that.
Japan makes you feel ugly. We're always talking about this, I think, on the channel, is like how assertive we have to be. And that we're saying, you know, a lot of Japanese guys, especially in the gay community, very passive. Not only are they passive, they're most of the time they're going to be ignoring you. Even if someone likes you, it feels this way. I don't know if it is this way, but it feels like this to me, where it's like, I feel like I'm giving so much. Whereas I go abroad, and as you said, you're at your hotel and bing, bing, bing. You were just saying Grindr no messages you here, right?
Yeah.
It's like me, I will be messaging people. Sometimes I get response, but it's coming from me all the time. And it's tiring. And when I'm abroad and people are actually sending me messages and stuff like that, as you just experienced, it feels
Overwhelmed.
overwhelming, but nice as well.
I feel
now
like
you're like, whoa, I'm not used to this.
Yeah,
I'm not used to
actually, you know, I
this.
had a culture shock. So I had a little bit like
5 minutes.
Alternative reality or shock. I was like, is this the real world I'm experiencing right now? Because I was actually overwhelmed. And I ended up didn't see anyone because everyone's like so aggressive about it. And I kind of like, because of living in Japan for so long, I was assimilated by this anti-sex energy, you know? So I was like, oh my God, this is too much.
So do you think, because like it kind of reminds me of when we were talking about hutong in Hong Kong. After, I'm always complaining about not getting enough attention, and then people were it was almost overwhelming to me that I was like, slow down, boys.
Yeah.
And it felt very Goldilocks, because it's like, you want this, but you don't want this, but you want this. Oh, it's too much, too little, this and that. Like, was that kind of your experience as well? In the sense, like, with all that new attention, it almost, like, you're here wanting people to give you attention, wanting people to reach out to you, want this. You got all of that, but then you were also overwhelmed.
Yeah. But then later on, right? Like, I just needed time to adjust, or like reflect to it. Because it was like coming too quickly. You know, literally, I didn't do anything. I opened up my Grindr. That's it. And just like messages flew in.
You just said the word there. I didn't do anything. And something happened. And that's very different from our experience here.
Yeah.
We have to do
something. Otherwise, nothing happens.
Nothing happens. And even if we do something, nothing might happen.
No, obviously, again, like, I don't think this experience made me think, oh my God, I'm the hottest person ever. But just at least I feel like a normal person.
Yeah.
I reflected on it. I'm like thinking, am I just, because Japan's gay beauty standard like doesn't fit me? Like, I'm not matching their standard, because, you know, the two countries I was like mentioning, KL, I mean like Malaysia and KL has lots of like Chinese population over there, and Taiwan another
Yeah.
I feel like compared to Japan, we love like a boyish kind of like a clean face person. So I'm like wondering, is this because I'm just like more fitting to that kind of beauty standard instead of like Japan standards? Maybe if I change my look a little bit, like do I get a different responses? Like I don't know.
You should try it. Like have a fake beard.
But like I don't have
a fake beard. Go around, and then you're bulking now, so you're getting more of a body. I think that they're probably looking for, and then just.
So do you think that can be a factor?
I think it's possible.
It's possible, right?
For instance, when I was in Taiwan, I was pretty ignored when I was there. And I felt very much that the Taiwanese guys, at least the ones that I was interacting with, seemed to like people who looked like them. And so I felt very...
What do they look like?
They looked like the ryosangata.
Like the Japanese
ryosangata. Yeah, the sort of...
With beard
With
as
beard,
well?
of course. Yeah. It sucked, but it wasn't an unfamiliar feeling. So from that point of view, I think it's possible for you, like I wasn't their type of beauty standard. But then the other thing is also I was told by other people that was only the Formosa circuit party queen crowd.
Right. If you go to
And then
like
if I go,
Seaman.
then it would be different. Like when I was sort of talking about this, people were like, no, you should have gone to like Shimon, and you should have been like in different spaces. It would have been different. So it left me then with not knowing whether I'm Taiwanese gays type
you
or
should
not.
have gone to G-Star.
Yeah, so next time. But then I also have a question as well, because I
Yeah.
remember you used to talk a lot about how in China you were never really, you didn't feel popular.
Because I'm not tall. It's always like my stigma. And Chinese people really love tall people.
So do you think, because I guess that's getting back to that
Right.
thing, right? Is it,
Right.
are you not China's beauty standard?
No, I'm definitely not hot anywhere.
That's not true.
No, like if you really compare to the pinnacle of gay beauty. Like I know where I am. I'm like not ugly. But Japan actually makes me feel ugly.
It pains me to say, like, because I love Japan so much, but it's like, why
Am I still in Japan?
struggling? Why are we struggling when obviously there are other countries who would appreciate us?
You know what? Because we're cowards. That's it.
You just don't think you don't have the guts to just sell everything.
Sell
and leave.
everything and leave. If I was in my early 20s,
It would be
didn't earn
different.
anything, and I saw that part, I would be like, yes, it's time for me. But Japan does a really great job to trick you.
Like The Good Place.
Yes, it is. It makes you believe it is heaven on earth. It is so peaceful. Everyone's so polite and so smiley and so nice. But
Yeah.
it's very cruel. Like when you compare to maybe a Southeast Asia country, it's more
New York.
humid.
It's in New York, where the dreams are made of, but you go there and you're just like living paycheck to paycheck
Yeah.
and struggling, and you get
Exactly. But when you move to like a more chill place, yes, maybe the hygiene situation is not as good. The public transportation is not as reliable.
Japan has amazing transportation.
But then you're so tricked by it. You believe that's life all about. In my trip to Malaysia was so fun. Like I met a lot of cool people over there, and we went to this amazing club called Over and Above. I'm so obsessed. I want to go again. Like that's so good.
Yeah. I want your friends to take me around, your new friends, when I go. I haven't been there in like 20 years, so.
Make your own fucking connection. No, like even in Hong Kong. Okay, let's talk about Hong Kong.
Okay, let's talk about Hong
We
Kong.
went to this really cool, club thing.
Oh, the underwear party.
Underwear party.
Yeah, you were like making out with like 3 guys.
All I needed to say was like, you look so cute. And that's it. And everything just happened very naturally. But in Japan, I just feel like wait, that's not true, because in Singland, I also...
No, but you were saying the
Raise it up.
Japanese people weren't even in Sinland. It was all foreigners.
Yeah, but the only Japanese person there, like, I risked him
That's
up.
true. That's true. You did. So I think that there are like maybe a couple things going on here, right? It's the question of whether we're not the beauty standard and whether people are just not popular here, which I think is a part of it. But I also wonder as well of the passiveness in the sense of you said like, all I need to do is this, or I didn't do anything. So it's like, I think there could be a possibility that Japanese people are interested, but that you just have to, it has to all come from you. And I think that that's a consistent conversation that is always happening. Is it which one? Probably a mix of both.
It's a mix of both, but I would say like the passiveness is really driving me crazy at the point.
Yeah.
Like, you do 90% is not enough. You have to do 100.
Yeah.
And you have to like you have to hold their hand, being like walk each step. And that's very, like, because we were Tokyo bottom, we are not Tokyo tops, okay? We need them to lead us. Like, you know, we're passive in nature. Well, that's a generalization.
That's a very
it's
generalization.
really terrible,
but in any relationship, it has to be reciprocal. You want to feel liked and loved and desired.
Yeah.
You know, even if you like someone else, you want that back. People will be like, oh, they have different love languages. But it's like, no, I think this is something that a lot of people will share the same sentiment.
I mean, they have different love languages, but it's just like, I don't love that.
You don't
I don't
love
their
their
love
languages.
You know, so that's why the reason why, like, again, it's not a bashing on the Japanese people, because I do have lots of
the Japanese people.
I have lots of Japanese friends.
Yes, me too.
But I don't even, and colleagues and people I work together, people like straight friends. I do love all of them. I don't know what to say. I kind of just only have to blame the energy and atmosphere. Because it is an amazing, clean place and people are nice. But how do you explain the disconnection of my experience of like being ignored and being humbled and feeling ugly about myself every single day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have a explanation besides what we just talked about. I'm glad though you felt less ugly and more desired when you were abroad. What about Korea?
I went with a big group, right? So a lot of like group activity. It was my first time going there. But we went to the Muscle-ly.
Oh, you went to gym?
That's the club.
Gym club, yeah, downstairs, right?
It was fun. It was really fun. It was very circuity.
I used to party all the time.
And people call it a little God.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I also went to the Muscle to Muscle Bathhouse shelter.
Ah, yeah.
Have you been?
Yeah.
So apparently they reject people a lot too.
Yeah, apparently.
So I was very surprised that with my little mini muscle, I was able to get.
Yeah.
You were surprised that I could get.
Yeah. No, I went in March, right? And I went.
And
I
went
thought
to shelter
and
itself.
and there was another one close by.
Yeah.
Different bathhouse. Obang.
Obang, yeah.
So I was like, well, if they reject me, I'll
go to the other one.
And then they let me in, and I was like. Yeah, I felt it was what people offered. And I actually, I got a lot more attention in there too. More so. So
that's the equivalent to Volcano.
Volcano, I know.
So,
yes.
Right, we can use that.
And let me tell you. Did I tell you? No. I got into Volcano. It's so sad. It's so sad that this is this week. I went to the convenience store and there was the guy there checking me out and he was like, 鍛えてるんですか?
Oh.
And then I was like, わかります? He was like, yeah, 見えますよ. And I was like, ah. And so I was like, maybe today's my day. I was like, I don't know, like maybe I just look good. So I put on like my tightest shirt.
And you just went to Volcano.
And then I went to Volcano and I was like, let's see. Because like someone, I wouldn't say the convenience store person's a stranger because I talk to him sometimes. Yeah. But I'm like, he doesn't have to say that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I can see the difference.
And so then I was like, maybe that was my chance, and I wanted to see, and then they let me in.
Was it like a really smooth thing where
yeah,
kind of like...
and also I pretend I was all like I had my gym card here because you get a discount. So I was just like. Like trying to.
That goes back to our question, right? Like you sacrifice so much of your femininity to make yourself look more popular to get into.
Got me access. I got rejected twice from that place.
But how was Volcano?
So connecting the shelter with Volcano, I got more attention in shelter. I got in Volcano, and then I thought when I got in, I was so happy, but I got ignored for like a couple of hours.
How many hours were you there?
Essentially, I decided to leave.
Yeah.
Because I was like, fuck this. So after an hour, I was like, fuck this. And then I left. And then I went and ate. And then I just like, not drowned my sorrows, but I just ate onion rings because I was just like, it's time. And then I came back and then I waited a little bit more and then found a guy we had a great time together.
Right.
But it was that thing where I thought, what is the goal here? Like, even if I can get into a place that's muscle for muscle, Japanese guys aren't going to like me. especially on that level of hotness. I struggle to find guys who like me in general, let alone guys who are really fit.
Right.
So there was a part of me which was a little bit like, Andrew, you're being silly because now you're in here and you're just wasting time because like even though you got in, people are still gonna massively ignore you. So anyways,
congratulations.
I was still happy I got
Volcano.
it. And comparing that to Shelter,
yeah.
I thought it was going to be, I hadn't been Volcano at that time, but I was like, if it's like Volcano, I've been rejected from Volcano, not going to get in. Then I got in, and then I was surrounded by really fit guys who I was really attracted to. And not everyone liked me, obviously.
Yeah.
But it was a significantly less ignore rate than what I just experienced in Volcano and what I would imagine I would at that time. People were actively engaging with me. I would say it was like a 40% success rate in Shelter.
Yeah.
And I would say
that's a high rate.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Volcano is 10, and my other success rates in other bathhouses to be between 20 and 30.
Okay. In Japan, right?
In Japan.
Yeah, so that's why I'm like saying it's the energy you can't really explain, because I feel like Korea, yes, I would say, I exchanged like my Instagram information with like a couple guys as well at the club, like just one or two, not a lot. But like that rarely happens in Japan for me. Like maybe I do it like maybe.
Oh, that's true. Actually.
Yeah, maybe I exchange information, but it's like once a year.
That's true.
Not like within my 5 days in Korea, Anti-fun.
Yeah. Anti-fun. Anti-fun, wow.
There's the anti-fun.
No, it makes me feel ugly.
Make me feel...
No
Japan humbles me every single day.
Humbling. That's what it's humbling. It's like, actually, no, it's just making you feel bad about yourself.
But I will say, this kind of feeling comes and goes.
Yeah, because we're not here solely, and that's the hard part about when people are like, people even say to me, like, you should just move to Europe. My whole life here is not just about guys.
Yes, right.
Even though our channel is very gay and stuff like that, like we're
only presenting you the guys part, but our life is more than that.
Yeah.
So, I think going back to our popular or not video, at that moment I was in my Zen mode. Like I was like, what are you guys talking about? I think we are fine. Like I think we deserve our rank, whatever. Yeah. That's what my stance. But at this point, I'm more like all my stress accumulated, and I just need a chance to like rent it out and let it explode. But we'll see after White Party. Maybe I feel like all my energy has been spent.
Because maybe that's another, because you already have Korea, Taipei, Hong Kong, Kuala Lumpur, Bangkok after that. That's a pretty good range of places,
this year I'm really traveling so much.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about just your experiences over 5 different cities in Asia. Right. That will give you a good idea. You know what I mean? Like we already know the 4. I'm pretty sure you'll get lots of attention in Bangkok as well. So,
okay, White Party, I never get attention. It's like
that's not true.
That's not true, but that's not true. But usually I'm like at the mode. I'm like, don't talk to me.
But you're not in Zen. You're not in Zen mode at the moment. You're in like fuck Japan mode. So you're gonna be there like partying.
No,
and
not
be
fuck
like,
Japan mode. I'm in my aggressive wanting for.
You're just gonna see if I can tell you that you have nice glasses. What's gonna happen? Are you gonna make out with me? That's the mode that you're in right now.